Scripture lesson today comes to us from the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11, verses 2 through 5.
And I'm going to interrupt Dean, because that's the kind of thing I do. Sometimes it's just Dean, who usually gets it. Yeah, you're used to it. I asked a bunch of pastor friends, how do I preach on this story? And they said, ooh, that's a hard one. I just don't do it. I asked them, well, how can you do it? And they said, well, it's a difficult topic, so tell the truth, but, be careful, use the right words. So I asked my non-pastor friends, how do I preach on this topic? And she said, and I understand this because sometimes I feel like this. She said, when I hear about that, I want to go straight to punishment. I want to like fix it right now. And I get that. I feel that. Maybe revenge, maybe it's a reckoning, which is natural. And consequences are absolutely part of the world we live in. But I don't think it's the whole story. So we're going to. When you hear this, you're going to have a first reaction. I invite you to sit with that and kind of wait for that second reaction and consider what's the good news for the her in the story. Where might there be good news for the him in the story or outside of the story? And if there's any good news for any of us, how can God's good news get to the him in this story?
It happened late one afternoon when David rose from his couch and was walking about on the roof of the king's house, that he saw from his roof a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. David sent someone to inquire about her, and it was reported, this is Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. So David sent messengers to get her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. She was purifying herself after her period. Then she returned to her house. The woman conceived, and she sent David and told David, I am pregnant.
In a word, in a phrase, what happened? You got raped, sexual assault, something like that. Some commentators for the last 3,000 years have looked at this story and said, David is at this point in the story supposed to be at war, not lounging on his roof, and this never would have happened if he had been doing his duty as the king, which misses the point completely. It's sexual assault. Some commentators, even today, say, oh, come on. She was bathing on her roof. She took off her clothes. It's her fault. She should have known better, which misses the point. Sexual assault. Other commentators say, listen, read the story. She came to him. She could have refused. She didn't report it, which is trying really hard to miss the point, because the story is about sexual assault. 3,000 years ago, no different than today, societies, bad people, even well-intentioned people, a lot of people who are really kind in other parts of their lives, even those of us who try really hard to be enlightened in the world, we make excuses all the time for misogyny at every level, from how we use our language, to how we interpret stories, to how we respond to experiences, to how we shape societies to have fewer of those experiences. Far too often, we miss the point. And listen, if you want to miss the point in this story, I'm going to give you two options to miss the point. And let me offer one sneaky passage in this story that isn't the point, but I really do think it's worth considering. The one word, so, S-O. Such a little word. How could it matter so much? In this story, David asked, who is the woman? And what was the answer? So who does she belong to? Like who?
Herself.
She belongs to
Uriah the Hittite.
Yeah, who's he? Who's her dad?
Hittite.
Ain't nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah, dad's not important. Husband isn't powerful. So
Yeah, but part of
he
the
took her.
Bible.
He took her. David took her. Because sexual assault, barely about sex, mostly about power. And if you still want to miss the point, here's another good way to do it. For those of you who, even if you haven't read the Bible, you've never paid any attention to Scripture, something about this story is probably still a little bit familiar, something resonates with you. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight over the trees. Today, you're lucky, I'm going to ruin your favorite song. Yeah. Then eventually, we're going to take the story, we're going to take this song, and we're going to try to expand it from one category of sin to something we all face, something that we've all faced. It's been power taken on to us that have hurt us and things we've done to others. But Hallelujah has been recorded a gazillion times. So many people feel really emotional about it. We've done a Christmas version in here. It was in the children's movie Shrek, which is so inappropriate. Because, spoiler alert, Hallelujah is about when sex gets in the way of love. Hallelujah is about when desire takes over and makes a relationship empty. Hallelujah, if you want, it's about how any brokenness takes us away from how we're meant to be and how we're meant to live. So you know about the Battle King, David. You know the verse about bathing on the roof. There's another line about cutting hair. Who got his hair cut in the Bible? Samson. And if you were here a year ago when we were doing a series on women in the Bible, you might remember this, but Samson lost Samson's power. His throne was broken in that by Delilah. So often people think of Samson as this powerful figure. Samson was a drunk who cheated on women and had an awful temper, both to the women and to men everywhere. He's not a hero, and so the woman stood up to him, which must have been really hard because she was stuck in a cycle of loving a man who couldn't change. If you know the chorus, go ahead and sing along.
There was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
Strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. But she tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throat. She cut your hair, and from your lips she drew hallelujah.
cover their feet. Ruth uncovers Boaz's feet. Now, certainly there are times when feet are feet and cigars are cigars. But here, kind of obvious, after he banters with this guy whose wife he just raped, Uriah, go wash your feet. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more. And why does David do this? Why do you think? Why does David tell Uriah to go sleep with his wife?
This is covering up the pregnancy.
Trying to cover up the pregnancy. Exactly. Because if he comes back and sees his wife is pregnant, he's got to say, oh yeah, nothing weird going on here. That's what happened. So Uriah left the king's house with a present from the king. There's another euphemism for you there. But Uriah slept at the entrance of the king's house with all his servants and did not go to his own house. When they told David Uriah didn't go to his own house, David said to Uriah, "You've just come from a journey. Why did you not go down to your house?" And Uriah said to David, what a stand-up guy, he said, "My general Joab and your servant soldiers are camping in the open field. Shall I go to my house and eat, drink, lie with my wife? As you live, as your soul lives, I would do no such thing." So David's plan, does it work? No. So David says to Uriah, "Remain here today also, and tomorrow I'll send you back." So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day, and on the next day, David invited him to eat and drink in his presence, and made him drunk. Why did he make him drunk?
So we forget.
Maybe. Another guess. It may be possible. I have a different guess. It's a little more gross.
He'll want to go home and have
Yep,
relations.
that's right. He's a soldier heading back to war. Maybe nature will take its course if he drunk one more night. And in the evening, he went to lie on his couch with the king's servants, but he did not go back to his house. David's second plan, did it work? No. In the morning, David wrote a letter to General Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. In the letter, he wrote, "Set Uriah," the soldier, remember, "set Uriah in the forefront of the hardest fighting, and then draw back so that he may be struck down and die." Now, sneaky stuff. We're going to get to the bottom of this. David decides to stop trying to cover up his mistake and just kill the husband. Which is actually interesting, because in those days, should have killed Bathsheba. That'd be easy, right? She's just a woman. But maybe David didn't think she was a threat because no one would ever believe a woman. Or maybe David liked owning her and he thought he deserved to have her. Or maybe he was just scared that extra little guilt of killing his unborn child. We don't know, but plan 3, to get out of trouble, to kill Uriah, does it work? Let's see. As Joab was besieging the city, he assigned Uriah to the place where he knew there would be valiant warriors. The men of the city came out and fought with Joab, and some of the servant soldiers of David among the people fell. Uriah the Hittite was killed as well. When the wife of Uriah heard that her husband was dead, she mourned for him. And when her mourning was over, David sent and brought her to his house, and she became his wife and bore him a son. Can you believe this guy? He thinks he's saving her. He thinks he's doing the upright thing. He's going to protect her from having a bed on the street and sell her body, so he's going to bring her in. Solve all problems he caused. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord, and the Lord sent the court prophet Nathan to David. And Nathan came to him and said, "Listen, there were 2 men in a certain city, one rich, the other poor. The rich man had very many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing but one little ewe lamb, which he had bought. He raised it, and it grew up with him as children. It used to eat of his meager fare, and drink from his cup, and lie at his chest, and it was like a daughter to him. Now there came a traveler to the rich man, and the rich man didn't want to take one of his own flock or herd to prepare for the stranger who had come, so instead he took the one man's lamb and prepared that for the guest who had come to him. Well, David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. He said to Nathan, "As the Lord lives, the man who has done this deserves to die. He shall restore the land fourfold because he did this thing and because he had no pity." And Nathan said to King David, "You are that man." And David said to Nathan, "Oh my God, I sinned against the Lord." Okay, how do you feel about David now?
Angry.
Angry? What did you say, Donna?
I said it's an excuse. He's pretending.
He's pretending. Does anyone believe him?
That he realizes his sin.
That he realizes the sin?
Yeah.
You believe that's possible?
It's possible to know you've sinned and not have any real remorse.
Possible.
It's possible to have remorse and not have any action that undoes things.
That also. There's a lot of space she ever got to tell her story. We don't get to hear her voice ever in this, so we don't know how she's misunderstood. She never gets to say anything. At least it's not recorded. I'm sure she said something somewhere.
That's what I hope for.
You hope that she can tell her story.
I
Okay,
hope.
so there's one possibility. Bathsheba, tell your story. Tell your truth. What else would you tell Bathsheba? Stay indoors. Oh, bathe indoors. Stay away from these idiots.
Well,
Kings do whatever they want. Yeah, dangerous.
it's not your fault. You didn't do
Not
anything.
your fault. It's not your fault.
No,
not.
your child.
It's not the fault of your child. Don't hold it against him. David, here we had questions about whether he has remorse or whether he does anything. David wrote a lot of the Psalms. Right? A lot of the Psalms are about the weight of guilt. A lot of the Psalms are about the process of redemption. A lot of the Psalms are about trusting in God's mercy. This story makes that fast. Like, right, those sentences happen really fast. This happened, boom, and then married into this. Do you think over his life, can he make amends? Is it possible?
If you can let go of the world around.
If he can let go of some of his desires,
Should at least not repeat your mistakes.
not repeat your mistakes. To do that, he has to learn somehow how not to repeat his mistakes. Do you think Bathsheba ever forgave him? It's that weird place.
I think maybe she did.
I think maybe she did.
I think,
Yeah.
if you go on after Solomon is born and somebody tries to steal his crown, then she does speak.
Much later, yes.
Well, what do we know about the relationship between her and Uriah? She might have been going from where was that now? It could have been worse, and she might in some way have been grateful to go to him, but we don't know anything about this soldier or how he
We
treated
don't.
her.
We don't know.
So I don't know, but I wouldn't assume that the soldier was worse of a guy for sure, but I don't know.
That's not our responsibility to pick Bathsheba's story. And we don't know all the details. Time does have a way. At some point, you kind of hope if, let's imagine, this isn't hard to imagine, she hated David for a long time. At some point, don't you want her to overcome that hatred and her to have some freedom? I don't know how we get there, but maybe that's... Do you think God ever forgave David?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be really easy, maybe be sloppy, to just take this story as, this is just one more example of powerful men taking advantage of women. 2 of our last 4 presidents, 2 of our 9 Supreme Court justices, how many actors, how many athletes, how many politicians. Some of them get on the news, but so many of them just get swept away. There is so much sin out there, so much sexual misconduct. Me Too is not enough, and I wish God would just snap and fix it, rain down fire and brimstone on every abuser from his head to his feet.
Agreed.
Actually, I don't know if I believe that. I understand that feeling. I don't know. During the Kavanaugh hearings, I had lots and lots of conversations with women for things were triggered. That was hard. But I also, what was more unique to me, because I've had a lot of those conversations, what was more unique to me was during all that, I had a lot of conversations with guy friends. It was the first time I've ever seen so many of us, men, gentlemen, start to come to grips as a group of us. Well, I've never done that, but what about that? And we asked a lot of questions of each other. I never assaulted anyone, but what about like pressure?
Right? There's
What about
2-dimensional
manipulation?
reality.
For all that brought up for women, me and every guy friend I talk to, kind, gentle, sensitive men, all of them who would call themselves feminists and woke, every one of us, look back 10, 20 years and said, I never meant to hurt anybody, but I wonder how she feels now. The story of David and Bathsheba absolutely leads us to all those places, to acknowledge the pain and pervasive evil of abuse. And young people who are navigating your way through the world, abuse is always wrong, always. Old people who are trying to figure out the new world, abuse is always wrong, always. This story leads us often to release any shame that we might hold on to. It's not your fault, is what Dean said. It leads us to make room for women to move from victim to survivor. You have that strength, and there's support systems out there. There are people who will help. It leads us to call all men to atone and amend their behavior, any behavior, from locker room talk to drunken college exploits to everything else. We can do better. The story of David, a sinner, definitely leads to all these fraught waters. Maybe there's good news somewhere in there for you, for wherever you're at. But I also think it'd be lazy to stop right there. I think this story also raises a really hard question for churches. And I've talked to several of you about this through the summer, and it really has landed more in the direction of domestic violence, but the question remains so hard for a congregation, for a family of people trying to run after God's dream for us. How do you make this a safe place for her to recover and a place for him to walk toward redemption? And maybe these four walls can't handle that. Maybe it's just we aren't big enough to do that. Maybe. But if the church as a whole isn't trying to help women heal and men heal from all they face and all they've done, from all we face, all we've done, if the church isn't a place to do that, what are we doing here? While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. In ways less triggering, more subtle, more everyday, we are all guilty of hurting each other and trying to get out of it, and making excuses, and half-assed apologies. And here's the good news. We are all in a process of redemption. All of us. Through the grace of God.
Amen.
All of us, for everything that has happened, for everything that we have done that has broken someone, for everything others have done to break us, we are all in a process of redemption. And that doesn't mean there aren't consequences. There should be. That doesn't mean anyone is offering cheap grace. When Jesus offers forgiveness, he doesn't say, no big deal. He says, go and sin no more. That we are in a process of redemption does not mean that we don't have work to do. We all have work to do simultaneously as perpetrators and as targets of cruelty. We all have work to do to heal ourselves and to overcome the pain we have caused. We need honesty, not excuses. We need confession, counseling, and correction. We need all of that because healed people can heal people. Broken people break people. Hurt people hurt people. But loved people love people. And forgiven people forgive people. David might not have taken the right directions to get there. Bathsheba may have gotten there. You may have gotten there already, maybe not. But we're all in this process.
Pretty much.
Working out our salvation. We are never alone. We are always in the arms of a God who wants more peace in your heart and more peace in the world. And I pray you feel the grace that surrounds you